Okay, so imagine this. You spent years, right? Planning, studying, acing exams.
Uh,
You finally get that acceptance letter to study in the US for the fall semester, and then, bam, weeks before you're supposed to start, your visa appointment gets frozen. Or maybe you get an interview, but then you're unexpectedly denied. Your whole dream just hangs in the balance. This isn't some hypothetical scenario, it's happening right now to literally thousands of Indian students. And that's what we're diving into today. We really want to unpack what's going on, the reasons behind these massive hurdles, understand the impact, and, explore what it all means.
yeah, absolutely. And it's much bigger than just the individual students, though that's devastating enough, of course. It really ripples outwards. It touches on important diplomatic relationships, big economic considerations for universities. So, yeah, our aim here is to give you a really comprehensive understanding of what's unfolding right now.
Let's start with the scale, because that's what really grabs you. Some people are calling this a looming crisis. And when you look at the F1 visa numbers for Indian students, it's pretty alarming. So get this. In May 2025, the number of F1 visas issued to Indian students dropped by 41% compared to the same month last year. 41%.
Wow.
And that's part of a bigger trend too. Globally, international student visas were down 22%.
That's a huge dip. And India is consistently one of the largest, if not the largest, senders of students to the US. So a drop like that from India is particularly significant.
Exactly. And what's maybe even more worrying are the projections coming from education consultants on the ground in India.
Right, I saw those. They're warning of potentially a 70% to 80% reduction in Indian students actually arriving this fall.
70 to 80%.
Yeah, if that holds true, I mean, think about that. It indicates something much deeper than just a few administrative delays. It points to potentially massive disruptions.
Yeah, it's not just inconvenience. We're talking about a huge number of students whose futures are suddenly very uncertain. It really brings home the human side of this.
Absolutely. Years of planning, financial commitments, all potentially upended.
Okay, so let's dig into why. Why is this happening? What are the core reasons behind these severe delays and the apparent increase in denials? Our research pointed to three main factors, right?
That's right. Three key areas seem to be driving this.
So the first one seems pretty direct. Appointment freezes and really erratic slot openings. U.S. consulates in India actually suspended student visa appointments for a whole month, didn't they? May 27th to June 26th this year.
Correct. A full month during a absolutely peak processing time. And the estimate is that this affected something like 100,000 potential applicants.
100,000. And even though that official freeze is over now, the word is that new interview slots are incredibly hard to come by. They're scarce, unpredictable.
Exactly. Students are reporting just constantly refreshing the portal, hoping something pops up. It creates this huge bottleneck.
Which really makes you wonder about the capacity planning, doesn't it?
It does. To have a sudden suspension like that, followed by such a limited availability, it puts students under immense pressure. They're on tight academic timelines. Missing the start of the semester isn't really an option for many.
Okay, so that's the appointment bottleneck. What's the second factor? It sounds like there's also tougher scrutiny, specifically around social media.
Yes, this is a relatively new element causing waves. Since June 18, 2025, all student visa applicants, that's F, M, and J visas, have to provide their public social media handles.
And these profiles are being checked.
They are. They're being vetted for content that's deemed, and this is the tricky part, hostile to U.S. values.
Hostile to U.S. values. That sounds broad.
Yeah.
And potentially quite subjective, right?
Extremely. What constitutes hostile? Political opinions, memes, criticism of policy. It's not clearly defined, which creates a lot of uncertainty for applicants. And beyond the uncertainty, this vetting process itself inevitably adds time. It's another administrative layer, another potential point of delay, or even denial if something is flagged, perhaps even misinterpreted.
Right. So you have the appointment scarcity, then this added layer of social media vetting, and the third factor seems to be just a rising number of rejections, even for students who look like really strong candidates on paper.
Yes, we're hearing more and more anecdotal reports, and consultancies are confirming this trend. Students with excellent academic records, strong financial backing, clear study plans, they're getting denied.
And often under a specific section of the immigration law, Section 214B.
Exactly, Section 214B. And it's important to understand what that means. It's not about their academic qualifications, usually. It boils down to the legal presumption that anyone applying for a non-immigrant visa, like a student visa, actually intends to immigrate permanently.
Ah, right. The burden of proof is on the student.
Entirely. The applicant has to convince the consular officer that they have strong ties to their home country, India, in this case, and that they fully intend to return after completing their studies. Things like family, job prospects back home, property ownership, these all play a role. But if the officer isn't convinced, even with a stellar academic profile, they can issue a 214B denial.
So tougher scrutiny overall, even beyond the social media checks. It suggests the evaluation is just more rigorous, maybe less predictable than before.
Precisely. It signals heightened officer scrutiny and likely requires more extensive documentation or clearer articulation of ties to home.
Wow, okay, so you combine those three things, the appointment chaos, the social media checks, the tougher overall scrutiny and higher denial rates. You can just feel the anxiety radiating off these students and their families.
Oh, absolutely. The human impact is immense. You mentioned education consultancies in Hyderabad reporting panic that seems widespread.
Yeah, the stories are quite distressing. Students refreshing portals constantly like it's a full-time job. People who thought they had an appointment but never got a confirmation email just left hanging.
Oh, right. That limbo state must be agonizing.
And then maybe the worst part? Getting that interview, feeling like you nailed it, having a spotless profile as far as you can tell, and still getting denied, often with little explanation.
That lack of clear feedback can be incredibly frustrating.
There's this Reddit post that went viral recently, late July, I think, and it just captured that feeling perfectly. Something like, fall semester starts in like 2 weeks, and most students don't even have their visa interviews done yet.
I saw that one. And another comment saying their consultant refreshes the portal every single day and there are literally no slip lots.
Yeah, it really underscores the desperation and the emotional toll this is taking. These aren't just applications, these are life plans. Huge financial investments involved too, usually.
Definitely. Years of work, family savings often on the line, and to have it stall because of bureaucratic issues. It's incredibly tough. It shows how the process itself can be the biggest hurdle, regardless of merit.
So, faced with all this uncertainty, what are students actually doing? Are there alternatives? Or are they just waiting it out?
Well, many are having to make some hard choices and explore alternatives. It seems waiting indefinitely isn't feasible for most. One very common path emerging is deferral. Students are opting to push their admission start date to the spring 2026 intake, hoping the situation improves by then.
Okay, so delaying the dream but keeping it alive.
Exactly. But others are looking further afield. We're seeing increased interest in alternative study destinations.
Like where?
Countries like Germany, Canada, Ireland, the UK, places where the visa process is perceived as perhaps more straightforward, or at least currently less backlogged and uncertain than the US process seems to be for Indian applicants.
That makes sense, diversifying their options.
And experts, the reputable consultants, are strongly advising students to have backup plans. Don't put all your eggs in one basket right now.
What else are they advising?
Key things are: stay in very close contact with the university's designated school official, the DSO. They're the main point person for visa issues at the university. Have all your documents absolutely ready to go, the I-20, the financial proof, everything. And critically, try to avoid relying on rumors or unverified advice floating around social media. Stick to official channels.
Good advice. And this whole situation, it's not just students and universities noticing, right? It's escalated to the government level, too.
Yes, definitely. It's gained significant attention. In the U.S., a bipartisan group of lawmakers, including Representatives Deborah Ross and Raja Krishnamurthy, wrote a pretty strongly worded letter.
To the administration.
Yes, to the Trump administration. They urge immediate action to resolve the visa backlog in India. They specifically asked for a written response by August 8th, detailing the steps being taken to restore full visa services and ensure fair access to appointments.
So pressure building from within the U.S. system.
And also from the Indian side. India's Ministry of External Affairs has formally raised the issue with the U.S. Embassy in New Delhi and the State Department in Washington. They've highlighted the distress among students and families and pushed for expedited processing. So diplomatic channels are definitely engaged.
Which underscores that this isn't just an administrative glitch. It has broader implications.
Huge implications. Let's talk about the economic side first, for the U.S.
Right. Universities must be feeling nervous. International students, especially undergraduates, often pay full tuition.
Precisely. They are a crucial revenue stream for many, if not most, U.S. universities. We're talking billions of dollars annually across the higher education sector. Even a relatively small drop in enrollment, say 5% or 10%, could translate into hundreds of millions, potentially billions, in lost revenue in aggregate. That impacts everything: research funding, campus services, maybe even staffing.
A massive financial hit. And beyond the economics.
Well, there's the diplomatic and sort of soft power aspect. The U.S.-India Educational Exchange is a cornerstone of the relationship. It's been built over decades. It fosters scientific collaboration, cultural understanding, builds networks between future leaders. It's incredibly valuable strategic capital.
So this visa crisis could actually damage those long-term ties.
It certainly threatens to. If the U.S. starts to be seen as an unreliable or overly difficult destination for talented Indian students, that could erode goodwill and push students towards other countries. That has lasting consequences for scientific progress, innovation, and bilateral relations.
Okay, so the stakes are really high for individuals, for institutions, and for the countries involved. Given that the situation is still, very much in flux, what are the most practical things students can do right now?
Right, it's about managing the uncertainty. First, as we mentioned, stay informed. Check the official U.S. Embassy and consulate websites in India daily. Keep checking emails from your university DSO. Information is key.
Okay, stay informed. What else?
Prepare obsessively. Have every single document pristine and ready. Your I-20 form, proof of finances, SEVIS fee receipt, passport photos. And yes, make sure your public social media profiles are reviewed and clean according to your best judgment of those vague guidelines. Be ready to act the moment a slot opens or information changes.
Be prepared. And the third thing?
Consider those fallback options seriously. Talk to your university now about deferral policies and deadlines. If deferral isn't ideal, actively research those alternative destinations: Canada, Germany, UK, Ireland. Understand their application timelines and visa requirements. Don't wait until it's too late to pivot if needed.
So stay informed, be prepared, and have a plan B. Maybe even a plan C.
Exactly. It's about regaining some measure of control in a situation that feels very out of control for many right now.
It really is a situation that seems to be evolving almost daily. The next few weeks feel critical.
They absolutely are. What happens with appointment availability, whether there's any change in processing or policy, these developments will determine if thousands of students make it for the fall 2025 semester or face significant disruption to their plans.
Okay, let's try and quickly summarize what we've covered in this deep dive. We've seen that Indian students aiming for the U.S. this fall are facing major visa hurdles. This seems to stem from a combination of factors: significant appointment freezes followed by scarce slots, much tougher vetting including social media checks with unclear criteria, and a noticeable rise in rejections, even for strong applicants, often citing that immigrant intent clause, section 214B.
Right, and the impact is profound, widespread anxiety and frustration for students and their families. It's forcing many to consider deferring their studies or looking at entirely different countries like Canada or places in Europe.
And it's not just individual hardship. There's serious potential economic consequences for U.S. universities who rely heavily on international student tuition. And it also puts a strain on the long-standing educational and diplomatic ties between the U.S. and India.
Both governments are now involved trying to address the situation, but it remains very fluid.
So the advice for students caught in this is really to stay glued to official updates, have all their paperwork absolutely perfect and ready, and seriously explore backup plans like deferral or alternative destinations.
That sums it up well. It's a challenging time requiring vigilance and flexibility.
Indeed. Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. All the best, and we will meet again with another important matter again.